Have you ever wondered why a simple pattern of sound can make your chest tighten, your eyes water, or your whole body want to move without thinking? Music isn't food. It isn't shelter. It won't keep you warm at night or protect you from a predator. And yet every human culture ever discovered, no matter how isolated, no matter how ancient, has made music. That should strike you as strange. Evolution is ruthless. It doesn't usually keep things around for free. So why did something with no obvious survival value become one of the most universal behaviors our species has ever practiced? The answer starts not with instruments, but with sound itself, and the way it moves through a body long before language ever could. Picture a small group of early humans, tens of thousands of years ago, huddled together as darkness falls. There are no walls, no locked doors. Every sound outside that circle could mean danger. A snapping branch, a distant growl. In that world, silence wasn't peaceful. Silence was tense. Silence meant you were listening for a threat you couldn't yet see. So what would happen if someone, instead of sitting in that tense silence, began to hum? It seems like such a small thing, but researchers who study the origins of music believe this might be closer to the truth than we'd expect. Before words existed in any complex form, humans likely communicated through tone, rhythm, and pitch, the same tools a mother instinctively uses to soothe a crying infant today. That rising and falling voice, that gentle repetition, isn't something we're taught. It emerges naturally, almost involuntarily, the moment we try to comfort someone we love, which raises an uncomfortable question. What if music didn't start as art? What if it started as survival, just not the kind we usually imagine? Here's where it gets interesting. Our bodies react to rhythm in ways that have nothing to do with conscious thought. When a group of people hear the same steady beat, their heart rates begin to synchronize. Their breathing starts to align. Even their brain waves can shift into matching patterns. This isn't poetic exaggeration, it's measurable. And in a world where survival depended entirely on cooperation, on a tribe moving and acting as one unit, rather than a scattering of individuals, that kind of synchronization would have been extraordinarily valuable. Think about what a hunt required. Dozens of people, spread across open land, needed to move with silent coordination, sensing each other's timing without speaking a single word. Now think about what a shared rhythm does to a group of bodies. It's not hard to imagine that clapping, stomping, or chanting in unison wasn't just a celebration after a successful hunt. It may have been training for it, a way of teaching bodies to move as one before a single word of instruction was needed. But there's something else music does that's even harder to explain through pure logic. It bonds people emotionally, almost instantly, even strangers. If you've ever stood in a crowd and felt a wave of connection to people you've never met, simply because a song brought you together, you've felt this firsthand. Anthropologists believe this emotional glue may have been one of music's most powerful original functions. Early human groups were small, fragile, and constantly at risk of falling apart under stress, jealousy, or fear. A tribe that could bond quickly, that could feel like one unified body instead of a collection of anxious individuals, had a real advantage. Music, it turns out, might be one of the oldest tools humans ever developed for turning me into us. And then there's grief. Because if music can bond the living, it can also hold the space between the living and the dead. In nearly every ancient culture we have evidence of, sound accompanied death. A low, mournful tone, a repeated chant, a rhythm that seemed to mimic the human heartbeat itself, slowing down, fading out. Some researchers believe this wasn't a coincidence. A slow, steady rhythm can physically calm a distressed nervous system, and losing someone you love is one of the most distressing experiences a human being can face. In a time long before therapy, before language sophisticated enough to say, "I understand your pain," music may have been the only thing capable of saying it anyway. So if music offered all of this bonding, coordination, comfort, communication, why did it take instruments so long to appear in the archaeological record? The truth is, it probably didn't take long at all. We simply can't see the earliest music because the earliest instrument was likely the human body itself. Clapping hands, stomping feet, a voice rising into the night air. None of that leaves a trace for archaeologists to find thousands of years later. What we do have are flutes carved from bone, found in caves in Europe, dating back over 40,000 years. Someone sat down, carefully measured finger holes, and shaped bone into something that could carry a melody. That kind of effort doesn't happen by accident. It tells us that by the time our ancestors were painting on cave walls, music wasn't a new idea. It was already a deeply established part of what it meant to be human. Which brings us to the strangest part of this whole story. If music truly began as a survival tool, why does it still move us so powerfully today, in a world where we no longer need it to coordinate a hunt or bond a tribe against the dark? Why does a single song still have the power to bring a stranger to tears? Maybe the answer is that the world changed, but our nervous systems didn't. The same ancient wiring that once synchronized heartbeats around a fire still responds to rhythm today. Whether that rhythm comes from a drum circle or a set of headphones, the same voice that once soothed a frightened infant still softens something in us when we hear someone sing with real emotion. We didn't outgrow the reasons music began. We just built new rooms around the same old fire. So the next time a song gives you chills, or brings back a memory you thought you'd forgotten, or makes you want to move without meaning to, you're not imagining some abstract emotional reaction. You're feeling something that helped your ancestors survive the night, feel less alone, and become something more than individuals scattered in the dark. Music was never just sound. It was always connection, wearing sound as its disguise.